Ahoy! Captain Benzie here, coming at you with a video to talk about Armajet Update 1.7. Now hang on, I hear you saying, didn't we do that just last week? Yes, last week's video was a what's coming in Update 1.7. This is more a sort of, okay, now that we've had a bit of time to get our greasy mitts on it, how's it actually all worked out? And I'm going to look at it sort of from different sides. Now, before we jump in, I do want to apologise that my content has been pretty sparse lately. With the issues in Zimbabwe, I've actually flown back to the UK for a few weeks to see friends, family, and get a whole load of stuff sorted for me, sort of like employment-wise. Very, very important, so I've been super, super busy. Means my content sadly has fallen to the wayside. That said, obviously, thank you for those of you who have stuck around and are holding on for this. Yes, there will be some CNC Rivals content and some new game suggestions and things like that. I've been keeping up to date as I go, just I haven't had a chance to edit and actually put stuff together, but hey, there we go. Anyway, enough of that rambling. Huge thank you and shout out to my Patreons for helping support this channel. If you want to support this channel, you can do so over at Patreon or by letting the ads roll out here on YouTube. That's always a big help to me. Anyway, right, let's jump straight into this. Armajet Update 1.7 landed last week. I was super psyched about all of this, but what actually really changed? Well, before we go into that too far, there were a few issues, hence we've just had Update 1.7.3 as a hotfix, which just fixed some of the graphical bugs on the Valor Road, a few bits and pieces where people were ending a match and not being able to go into another one, or even once they'd squatted up, being unable to hit the play button, the ready up button. So most of that has now been sorted. There are still a few issues in 1.7. That's what this video is to discuss now. So first and foremost, for me, Netcode was a humongous bonus change. Like, yay. Sitting in Zimbabwe, I could not even play with people in Europe. I know there were several people, Dark Squirrel, Little Meecha, etc., who would join a game that I'm in, join a lobby, and I'd just have to apologise and quit out, just because it ran like a slideshow. Now, I don't have to do that. I can actually sit and play with other humans. That in itself is incredible. And speaking of playing with other humans, the fact that we now have squads has been one of the most positive changes to Armajet since its creation, I believe. When I first started doing Armajet content, I had a couple of guys from the CNC Rivals community come across and be like, okay, this game seems pretty cool, how do you play with your friends? And I'd have to sit there and go, you can't. Which kind of sucked, but now we've got it. Now we've got that capability, and I do say if you're on the Gaming Galleon Discord, link should be along the bottom of the screen right now, you can come into the Armajet channel and request a new friend code from me. I'm always more than happy to squad up with people, as long as I'm free. Yeah, I'm always happy to squad up and just have a bit of fun with you guys and, blow some stuff up in an arena. I'm always down for that. And now we can. The flip side of this is that the matchmaking has suffered as a result of this. Ultimately, matchmaking currently is done by three things. It is done by how much valor you have, by what level your what rank your pilot is at, and also by your latency. So the idea being that you try and match with people who are lower latency to you, meaning that like Europeans will match to Europeans and you're less likely to go from Australia to America, that kind of thing. But it can still happen, is the point, which is, fair point, but it's to give a good experience for all. The downside is that right now it is quite possible as a solo level 3 to queue into a group of 4 level 80 pro tier players. That in itself is not overly fun, let's be honest. It's not fun for either team. It's not fun if you're a new player coming in and just having pro players absolutely wipe the arena with you. On the other hand, it's not much fun for the pro players to have no challenge whatsoever. Now, I spoke with the guys at Super Bit Machine on this, on Reddit and in Discord, and the general feeling is that yes, it does suck a little bit at the moment, but there's not much they can do, because ultimately if you tweak the system too much, you either get horrendous matchmaking times, or you just get tons and tons of bot matches, which is what we had in 1.6, and it's not overly fun for many people just to sit there and grind against bots. People want to be playing people, which so far 1.7's been letting them do. So if you change it, you're just going to get more bot matches. So taking a step back and going, right, okay, so what is actually the problem there? The problem is that if you're a level 1 player up against like 4 level 80s who are all pro tier players for like Hammers or Skyros or whoever, then yeah, you kind of just get pasted. You have a 30 points to 2 match and you only get those 2 because someone went AFK because they were so far ahead at 1 minute in. So what can you do? The step back is to go, well, actually, let's improve the AI. If we have decent AI that provides a challenge at all levels, then suddenly that AI would match up to those pro tier players and give them a solid fight, meaning that the newer player actually has some really strong opponents with them. The bots almost carry them. Same if you're running as a group of 3, the 4th slot should actually be a useful player of similar quality level to you and to your opponents, rather than just being one of the bots, which if you've watched Snowbase recently, they have that wonderful habit of face-humping the sites. So a fix is coming, but it's not a fix to matchmaking yet, because we just don't have enough players until we hit global launch. It's more a fix to the AI, which actually, in my opinion, is a much smarter way of doing it. It means we have to put up with a little bit of shoddy matchmaking for the time being. Best tip is just friend everyone you can. And when you go into a match and you play with people or against people, you can go into your social tab, find them as suggested, and add them. Every time you play, always play in a group. Always play in a group. You'll have a lot more fun that way, and just it's great to group with people. It's a great way to meet new people. Now, the third and final thing I want to discuss in this video is the changes to the progression system. I've had a few comments, both directly to me on the Armajet Discord and on the Gaming Gallon Discord, and in response to my previous video, that, oh yay, Armajet's gone to a pay-to-win system. No, it really hasn't. I want to dispel that illusion right the heck away. If you look at any pro scene game of Armajet, like any of the tournaments, whether that's back at the 4 Elements Jet Fest that I shoutcasted with El Toro Darkness, whether that's the Friday Night Fights, 1v1 tournaments, or the King of the Arena, run by Hammers. You watch that, and most people, the most popular loadout is the Black Tusk or the Long Claw. That's even with people who have all of the weapons. They still stick with the Black Tusk and Long Claw because they are such versatile weapons and they're good in any situation. Then you come down, and from there, I don't have actual details, I need to ask SBM for this, but I would imagine that the next two on the list, just from sort of anecdotal and seeing it, would be Badger and Thunderstorm. Those are two of the most popular and most used weapons in the arena after the first. For secondaries, you're looking at things like the Enforcer, the Frag Grenade still gets a lot of use, and the Widowblade, and all of those are commons, and they unlock super fast in Update 1.7. The Black Tusk and the Long Claw, though, as I said, are by far the two most used loadouts in the game. They are given to you straight as you load into the game the first time. That's incredible. Armajet starts with you having all of the tools you need. Then the rest of them are just colour and different ways of doing things. As one of the tooltips actually says, and I sat talking with Kima, one of the devs, a lot about this, with that progression system and with the different rarities, yeah, of course there's this illusion that Legendary is better than Common. It's harder to get. It must be better. It's not. The Cluster Grenade, for crying out loud, is long considered one of the joke weapons of Armajet. I actually personally quite like it, but it's not amazing, and very few people use it at all, because there are better options out there. They prefer just to use a Frag or a Widowblade. When you look at the primary weapons, there's things like the Ripper, things like the Velocitus, the Leviathan. These are the rares and the epics and the legendaries in this. They are harder to use weapons. They're not better. It's not like you've got, oh, it's a Black Tusk but deals more damage. No, they are all completely unique weapons. And the higher the rarity, the more unique they are, and the more you kind of are required to step back and go, right, how do I actually use this? Because some of those weapons will not do well on certain maps, and they require certain loadouts or very, very interesting skills. A Ripper Pilot ultimately is not going to get many kills themselves, but they are very good at setting kills up for other people. Same with a Leviathan. A Leviathan can snipe through. If you're playing a Velocitus, ultimately you want to be lane guarding, and that just doesn't work on Temple. This kind of thing, that is all the rarity is. Rarity is just an indicator of how specialised the weapon is. Common are very versatile, good in almost any situation. The higher the rarity, the more that strips down and becomes, this is a very specialised weapon, good in very specialised situations. That is what the rarity is and what it matters at. Same with ultimates. I know a lot of people go, oh yeah, well I've got the airstrike, but people with Napalm airstrike, it's flat out better. No, it's not. The Napalm airstrike does far less damage on impact, it just leaves fire. And you know what? You're armed with a jetpack. Don't stand in the fire. Anyway, that's kind of my thoughts here. So just to reiterate that ultimately, Netcode is absolutely fantastic. I am loving the Valor Road and the whole explosion. I'm going to put a load of stuff on screen now that you'll be seeing. The explosion of different skins that I now have, thanks to saving up a lot of Paragon. I'm just getting to deck out the characters. Jackal is by far my new favourite pilot, although I am also fond of Umiko, especially the particular skin that I should have on screen now, with the Wildfire Legendary. But yeah, I'm loving the skins. I'm loving everything about this. The matchmaking does kind of suck a bit, but I've learned just group up with friends, and the progression system is honestly awesome. Yes, it is. You get all of the weapons you need very early on, and actually you do earn the other ones faster than you used to. Seriously, I know that sounds hard to believe, but it's true. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Update 1.7. It's been out a week now. Hopefully you guys have been diving in and playing some matches, blowing some people up, trying out some cool new weapons and skins. What are your thoughts? What do you think about Update 1.7? Let me know in the comments below or on the Gaming Galleon Discord as per usual. Happy sailing, guys, and see you in the arena.